And to discuss the budget reconciliation bill and a new bill to counter China's and the rest of the world's transnational repression in the U.S., we're joined by Congressman Gabe Evans of the great state of Colorado. Congressman, great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. The Homeland Security Committee just advanced its budget reconciliation portion, including $45 billion for border walls and billions more for border patrol and surveillance technology. What are your thoughts on the reconciliation bill so far?
Part of the reason I'm in Congress right now, because I've seen the devastation that our communities have suffered with these wide open borders. Sitting in that hearing yesterday, I was just refreshing myself on the numbers. 74,000 people in 2023 died as a direct result of fentanyl, and over 90% of that comes across our southern border from Mexico. So being able to increase our border security through physical barriers and through all of the supporting technology is critically important to saving thousands and thousands of American lives, and I was very, very honored to be able to support that.
There was just a major bust in Colorado as well as over in Miami, targeting in Colorado specifically the Tren de Aragua, busting about 100 alleged gang members and also some service members possibly working for those gang members. I would just want to get your thoughts on this recent announcement, on the scale of that.
Again, this is what happens when we have open borders and sanctuary state policies. It provides a sanctuary only for foreign gangs that are looking to terrorize our communities. And so we've seen that in Colorado. We saw that in the episode that you just mentioned, where over 100 gang members and their affiliates were taken into custody for weapons violations, for drug violations, for human trafficking. And you mentioned the piece about military members. As a police officer, unfortunately, I know that one of the tactics that these gangs employ is to get some of their young members who don't have a criminal record yet and actually get them to join the military for the training, and then be able to take that training back to the gang once their military service is up. And so they're just a critical threat that we absolutely have to be able to counter using the full range of federal, state, and local resources. And so I was very, very glad to see the DEA and other agencies being able to protect our communities, again, in contravention to the sanctuary state policies in Colorado that have allowed these criminals to thrive.
And Congressman Evans, you're also the co-sponsor of the Countering Transnational Repression Act. Why is this a significant issue for the U.S.? And in action, how does this bill address it?
Yeah, so transnational repression, that's basically when foreign governments try to oppress, intimidate, coerce, or outright commit violence against members of their diaspora community, the immigrant community that's come to the United States. Probably the biggest piece of headline news was the so-called Chinese police station operating in New York, where the Chinese Communist Party was threatening and intimidating members of the Chinese diaspora community on U.S. soil. In my area, I represent a 40% Hispanic district, and so I have folks from Venezuela who have fled that regime, and we've seen reports where the Venezuelan regime is looking to actually leverage Tren de Aragua to threaten critics of the Maduro regime in the United States. And so my bill equips law enforcement with the ability to be able to do outreach to those communities and to be able to educate those communities about what the U.S. government can do to protect them from that foreign interference on U.S. soil.
I want to bring up this new report from the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which says that the Chinese regime's increasingly sending CCP-linked groups posing as NGOs to the United Nations to suppress criticism of its human rights record. How concerning is this trend, and what strategy is the CCP pursuing?
Yeah, it's incredibly concerning, and it just highlights the fact that we have to be vigilant on all fronts to make sure that we are countering these aggressive foreign regimes with an absolutely horrible track record of human rights, because they will use the transnational repression that we just talked about. They will use NGOs. They will use really any tool in the toolbox, and they're incredibly creative to be able to hide the crimes that they're committing and be able to very aggressively advance their oppressive agenda around the world.
So how is the CCP even managing to carry out transnational repression unchecked? And given the risks to Chinese dissidents and human rights advocates, even here in the U.S., what should we do about it?
Yeah, again, my bill was a panel of three different bills that all address this from different perspectives. But it really starts with being able to equip the boots on the ground folks who are going to be the most likely to either see this or be able to report it. And so that starts with doing the public service announcements and doing the outreach to the diaspora community. Because if you have somebody that has come here from China, from Venezuela, from Iran, from some of these other regimes, if they don't know that we have these resources in place and that we're going to use the full might of the U.S. government to protect them from that interference from foreign actors while they're on U.S. soil, if they don't know that, then we're never going to be able to even offer them resources and protect them. So being able to do the outreach to the communities, equipping state and local law enforcement who may not have as much experience working with international issues like these, and providing the resources so that when these things come to light, we can aggressively use every lever of power that the United States government has to protect American soil from these types of oppression. That's really what this panel of three bills did that we passed through Homeland Security. Again, my bill being one. There were two others in the package, bipartisan package, again, dedicated to protecting people on U.S. soil from foreign harassment, foreign intimidation, and transnational repression.
Certainly an important issue here. Congressman Gabe Evans, thank you very much for your insights and coming on today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.